Peace, everyone. Peace. This is Elder Jeffrey with the St. Louis branch of the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. Welcome to Friday Night Bible Study. And I'm here with my brethren, my team, Minister Anthony, Shelby,
Peace.
and Felicia. Peace, everyone.
Peace.
Peace, everyone.
Peace. Peace.
Yes. Together again, huh? Together again. Good to see. Good to see. I think you all got the right shirts today, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah,
We did. Yeah.
the official Friday night T-shirts.
Absolutely. Peace, everybody. As everyone starts to come into the room, into the chat, onto the YouTube, just like to say, everybody, thank you for joining us today. We're happy and glad to be here on this platform. Opportunity for us to talk about the God of Israel, about Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries, about why it's the answer for us as a community and society. And I'm thankful to the Supreme Council and of the Shadrach for creating this platform, allowing us this opportunity to be that light into the world. And the world definitely needs it about now, don't they?
Oh yeah, big time, big time.
Absolutely. So welcome everyone. Again, as you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure and share this with your friends and family so that we can continue to grow and be able to get this word out to as many people as possible. Again, like, share, and donate for sure. All right, so we get that out the way. Let's see. So how everybody doing? I mean, this is we're in the we're in the middle of the summer. Would you say about this time? Just
Yeah,
about.
yeah. Oh yeah, big time. It's like 104 here, Fahrenheit, 104 degrees Fahrenheit here in St. Louis.
Yeah.
So it definitely feels like some.
Yeah. How's it doing in Texas? It's usually hotter, right?
No, it's not as hot in Texas as it is there because we've been getting rain and stuff down here from weather off the Gulf of Mexico. So it's brought the temperatures down to the lower 90s. So it's okay. It's comfortable for me as long as I'm in air conditioning.
Right. That's the key, right? That's the key.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Absolutely. It's good. So around this time, we'll just come out of I'd say Juneteenth season around this time. I think we'll talk a bit about that later on. More importantly, St. Louis branch, we're hosting the Yes Camp, which is the Rise Group Summer Leadership Camp. And so by the time this is airing, that will be in full force. So we're excited about that. Definitely, any nation has to invest into their young people. And we're thankful again to Elder Shadrach for starting the Rise Youth Group decades ago. And, some of the people who have gone through that program are now elders and priests and officers and all these, doing such great things. So we have a new crop of leaders that are on horizon. And we're so happy that here in St. Louis and Missouri area, we're able to host this next camp for 2024. So shout out to the Rise Youth. Rise up. Rise up.
Rise up.
Rise up.
The future is bright.
Absolutely. So let's jump into it then. So I think, the first slide, let's put the first slide. Lean not on your own understanding. Lean not on your own understanding. So how did we get to this topic? I think, we were kind of, we used to do a series, right? I think we just finished the
prophets.
Yeah, we just finished the prophets. Exactly. Yeah. And so as we were searching through, like, okay, what should we do next? This popped up. So I don't know, give me some background. How did this bubble to the top to make it to be the next topic?
I know for me and the input that came from me, it was Juneteenth just passed, and it was just kind of this. It's so corporate now. It's so corporate, and it just was one of those things where you feel like I want to feel good about this, but something just doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, since it's ironic, right? Celebrating freedom doesn't feel good. It's the most ironic thing in the world.
Right.
And it just goes into even with our culture and it shows just the disparities there. So it's definitely something that that's been on my mind lately.
So how do you connect that with lean out on your own understanding? The sort of
Just
this,
from the
Juneteenth becoming a federal holiday,
yeah,
States,
and just the excitement that Jacobites have, right, and just that sense of jubilee but it's right. There's no understanding there because true freedom can only come from serving your God. That's the only aspect of true freedom. So if we don't understand that, then we're gonna celebrate every trinket that's left on the ground. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what crumb is being left. Like, especially when you consider that history of from the end of chattel slavery until one of the worst periods for us as a people that we've ever experienced. During the we had a little brief glimmer of hope with Reconstruction, but going into Jim Crow, many of our ancestors said that they would have rather been back in chattel slavery than to experience what they've experienced in the years of Jim Crow. And again, it's that understanding. It's just that understanding or the lack thereof.
Right. That's something else. I think Felicia had a good idea, had a good point. I'm waiting to hear hers.
The reason why this strikes a chord with me, lean not on your own understanding, is because in my life I've made mistakes and continue to have to stay vigilant of what I'm doing, conscious of my actions, because I'm used to leaning on my own understanding and making mistakes as a result. But now that my eyes are open, I've come to lean on the God of Israel and follow his lead wherever he takes me. But I still, like I say, have to check myself and remain conscious of that because old habits die hard.
For sure. What a great journey to kind of see yourself in that way and be able to understand who you are and act accordingly, right? So that's a blessing to kind of see that,
Yes.
So yeah, absolutely. How about you, Shelby? Why this topic important to you?
Mine's come from kind of that Felicia's same point, right? Just lean not to your own understanding. Like you hear it all the time. I remember going through the other doctrine, right? And hearing people always say, "Oh, just go and read and get your own understanding." And it never made sense to me even back then. Like, how could I? Like I don't. It's some of these things that are spoken or written. Well, I have no idea what I was looking at. I didn't know what it was. I needed a teacher, and that's one of the things that really I enjoyed about Israel as well, like being taught. It wasn't like we were just being preached at and made to feel good. We were actually being taught. So when I hear people say that, and you hear it a lot, just go home and get your own understanding. And it's like, nobody's there to teach me. Nothing we've learned, we know just from knowing. You know what I mean? We've been taught everything. So that's what helped me out.
Right. It was the blind leading the blind in Christianity.
Yeah. Which is quite interesting. That kind of that ties together because it's almost counterintuitive, right? In the sense that freedom, just tying it together, right? Juneteenth and everything. That freedom, in some ways, your first thought is like, well, yeah, freedom is doing what I want to do. Or if it pops into my head, then yeah, that's I can figure it out. I mean, smart guy, I can figure it out. But I think many of us, probably a little older, probably look back at our life and be like, look back to when I was a teenager or my early 20s, and I'm like, it made perfect sense to me then. But I look back and just like, oh, what an idiot! That's the, right?
Big time.
Yeah, you can't trust it, 100%. And thank goodness that we have. You think about the structure the God of Israel gave us. Number one, His law, statute, and commandments to guide us. The culture to protect us and to keep us on the track. and then our elders and our family. When you're a child, you have your parents, you have your older siblings, you have your cousins, your aunts, so you have such a support system to help, because you can't figure it all out yourself. There's a big world. There's a lot of things out there that are going to hurt you, that are geared to hurt you, to make you think that it's good for you, but actually it's bad for you. And this society knows how to really just guide you in the wrong way, and for their good, to exploit you in any way that it can, especially us as a people. And so if we don't have a firm foundation, if we're not firmly rooted, if we don't have guidance, and not just guidance, but also correction, like being able to keep us on the path, because sometimes we know the path, but for some reason we other things come in to kind of take us the other way. So yeah, I think we need this, right? We need this opportunity for us, like you said, Shelby, to receive instruction, to humble ourselves to receive instruction, and an opportunity to express, ourselves, sometimes, and then that helps us, day by day. We're all just one decision away from making a bad decision. So, as we've been said over the past few lessons, I think, it's those who endure to the end, are saved. So you have to, work through all the challenges for your whole life. And so it's important for us to kind of study this a bit and to think about it and to see how it can help us make better decisions moving forward.
Oh no, that's an excellent point. Excellent point. Because like you said, there are many lessons in the scriptures where, again, if you're just looking at it just for what it is, it's like, somebody does one thing right, and then they're punished severely. You're just like, geez, like that is. But like you said, though, it's not based on our understanding. The first story that comes out to me, and I know it's not in the scriptures, is Uriah.
Mm-hmm.
Not Uriah, or Moriah. I might be mixing it up. When they were transporting it, yeah. Mm-hmm. And when it started to slip and fall, and naturally, what anybody would do is to catch it.
Reflex.
For sure.
But he was killed instantly.
Yeah.
Instantly, because the glory of the God of Israel was present.
Yeah.
And you can't. It's like it's tragic, but you understand, but you don't understand. So yeah, that's why it's best to kind of remove our own personal feelings and thoughts and just hey, the God of Israel instructs us to do this, then we have to go and do this.
Yes, 100%. That made me think of I won't say a modern example, but an example during our time, during this 400, is what came to mind was Nat Turner. The story of Nat Turner, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So Nat Turner, led a slave rebellion, and was fairly successful, but it didn't end well for him. But he accomplished a little bit. He accomplished a lot more beyond than just than that. It was also really set a series of events, that ended up leading, to the Civil War. But the point is, in this situation, he was given these visions, to free his people, right? And he'd gotten one sign to say, this is this is the sign that you should go. This is when you should do it. You should go and do it at this time. And it was an eclipse. That was the sign. And his first date that he was actually going to do his revolt was actually on July 4th of that year. Part of it was going to be everyone's going to be in a festive mood and not really paying attention, and so on and so forth. So that was going to be the part of it. But he was sick. He got sick, got ill. They don't really say exactly what. Was it a cold? What was it? But he got ill, and so he didn't do it, even though according to him, his instructions, from God was to do it at this date. And so he didn't do it because he was sick, and then he ended up doing it later on, like next month in August. And obviously, he did a little bit, but it wasn't totally successful, right? He was hoping that it would really spark a full uprising of everywhere and getting freedom for his people. And so one thing as you analyze that is sort of, you kind of just, I don't know, I'm not sick, I'm not my best, but if God of Israel, if God had given you those instructions to do it at this time, you can do it at this time, right?
Yeah, regardless. Yeah, how you feeling?
Don't be leaning on your own understanding.
Absolutely. There you go. And we all know. Listen, we're not just saying this, sitting back in our armchair, thinking like, oh, let's just do that. It is easier said than, it's tough to discern sometimes those things and how to make those decisions. And it's like anything else, I guess, is practice. And that's why we're going to study some individuals who did it right, some individuals who didn't quite do it right, so we can hopefully glean something from that and embrace it and be able to use it in our own lives to make better decisions going forward. But that's one example. I think you guys have heard that story before, right? About Nat Turner?
Yes.
Yeah, most definitely. I think that goes to the point we were talking. I think a video came out about last week about and they were making a statement that when is the time to serve God, and it was like now, and you think about it, like even with Uriah, it's like you have to totally obey, but it's hard because sometimes you don't know if in that situation he didn't know. But he was trying to do the right thing. You don't want something that precious to hit the ground, but at the same time, the God of Israel like no. And if we just do it, it's like it's kind of like no matter how we might think about it being precious and falling and being dirty, we still have to do what he say. Just like don't lean to what we understand as that might make it dirty. Maybe he wants it dirty. You know what I mean? And who, like Minister Anthony said, who would know that though in that split second of the moment? And it's like you just said, we have to practice so much that we in tune with the God of Israel all the time. Right.
But something else I kind of take out of even the title. One of it's definitely the points that everybody mentioned. Another aspect of that is there's going to be so much in the world to distract you, to guide your thoughts, to pull you to the left, to the right, and everything goes like that. You just keep going. Keep going because it's gonna be cloudy. It's gonna get rainy. It's gonna be like, they're gonna be the emotional tugs, right? When we talk about all the time with our interactions with social media, our interactions with just entertainment, or you drive down the street and there's 1,000 different billboards of advertisement trying to pull you, and it seems good, it seems harmless. And then you look up and say, oh, where did the time go? Speaking from a personal experience, right? I've had, as soon as I get off work, I'm gonna go and do this, and that. I get home, and the next thing I know, I have my phone in my hand. I'm on my phone for an hour. Just playing around with it. Just playing around. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
It's those moments also that you just be like, what is going on?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's so many ways that I feel like you're almost tested on this walk, on the straight and narrow path. Because when I think about, I don't think it's in our slides, but I think about Korah and Dathan them, because the way that they behaved, I know that they had other things going on, but they were leaning on their own understandings to a certain extent of who should be in charge, who should be leading the people. Their role, who they thought they were in the eyes of the God of Israel. You bigger than yourself. They were really cocky with it, but with that, they deceived a lot of people and cost a lot of people their lives and their place in the kingdom from listening to them, and leaning on. I mean, it was just contagious at that point. Korah and Dathan and Abiram, I think the thing, but I know we can use these stories in so many different ways, because I think of Korah and Dathan, and I've heard that story taught about so many different subjects. I mean, the God of Israel thought of everything. He didn't leave nothing to chance.
Right.
And I think they were leaning on their own understanding. Although it was wickedness, they still did that.
Well, yeah, I think your actions, out of the heart, comes your actions, right? And so it's it kind of speaks to you, like you're saying, it's one of those things you're saying, like, what are the factors that come into play to make you make a decision one way or the other? And it's not just logic, right? There's emotions, like you said, there's outside influences, there's weaknesses, and there's certain things that you may desire. One, it's going to be different for me than for you, and your life experience. It could be other people's expectations. It could be, so many things, and it's not so much that like you're evil or want ill will anywhere, but you have all these things balled up into this one person at every point that you're making a decision. And I think that's why the culture is so important, right? You have the law's here, do this, don't do that, okay, fine. But the culture, because you're in practice of being obedient, you're in practice of doing these things. I haven't told this in a long time, but it was like, we used to refer to the Karate Kid, the original Karate Kid, right? And it was this process where he's teaching this individual, young boy, karate, but he's not like going for moves. He's like, waxing his car.
Clean the window, yeah.
Like, wax on, wax off, wax on, wax off. And in my own mind, leading to my own understanding, I'm like, what does this got to do with defending myself in a fight? But he's relying on the master, right? Who knows, more than you, and he knows wider than you, and he has more experience than you, and it's like a parent, right? There's so many, as a parent, you gain this little intuition, right? You can almost predict certain things your children are going to do, right? You're like, there's sometimes you're sitting in a room and the child, you don't even see them, whatever, but you're like, you know what? They are, you just kind of, something comes to you, right? So with experience, you kind of have this purview, and so you want to trust on someone like that even though you may not understand what the whole wax on, wax off thing is going to do, it seems like a waste of time to you, that you trust on this individual, that they know what they're doing is going to guide you in the right way. You know what I mean? So, but it's part of doing the culture. Like an example is like, what does taking a day off from work got to do with just pleasing God, becoming a good Israelite? How does Sabbath empower you? You know what I mean? Like a day off from work. Like, okay, like logically, it almost doesn't make sense. I mean, I've been doing it for a while, so I understand now. But I'm saying, just on paper, it just seemed, what? I understand thou shalt not kill, all those various things, but Sabbath day, like, okay,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting.
It's because as it comes, you kind of just, like you said, right? Obedience comes first, and hopefully understanding follows in a short period of time.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it doesn't always come, right? It may take years, it may take months, weeks, hours, days, however long. We pray for understanding.
Yes.
So that.
Well, let's get to it. Sorry.
No. I'm finished.
Let's get to the slide. Let's get to the slide. Our producer's a little anxious. He wants to, let's get to the slides. Okay. Lean not on your own understanding. All right. So this all, in case you didn't know, this is a quote that comes out of the Bible, Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all things, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. It's like everyone needs to have that, like the first thing that they see when they wake up in the morning, like in the bedroom or something like that.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
Start your day off with that, reminding yourself, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Because how many times you wake up and be like, oh man, today I got to do this. So many things. We're working out. Oh my goodness, I don't know.
Oh yeah. A lot of growing.
You need to know your ceiling. You need to know your ceiling when you first wake up. Just sitting right there in big bold letters.
For sure. I keep going. Let's keep going. So go to the next one. But I love that verse. If you guys that are listening love this verse, let me get some sevens there. So we're looking at a couple of these definitions that are in that verse. One is trust, right? And the term is trust in the Lord, right? And so um, one of the definitions that we had pulled was, of course, there's always many definitions, and this is from the dictionary. So if you guys agree, disagree, or want to elaborate, that's fine. Or even those that are in the chat, if you have your own definition of trust, I'd love to share it with you. What resonates with you. But we got from the dictionaries, trust, a firm belief in the reliability, truth, ability, or strength of someone or something.
Mm.
What do you guys think?
That's strong. Like that's
Very.
it's like you can feel it in the words, right? The firm belief in the reliability. That's the part that's like everything else is good, truth and ability and strength, all that, but the reliability.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing in this world you want more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Can I rely on you? I don't care who it is. I just can I rely on you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's deep.
Yeah, it is.
Go back to the slide. Show the slide. Keep the slide up for a second. And
Like the word truth
I was
too.
looking for an image that represent that, and the thing that kept coming to me was a baby, and even the scriptures say, unless you become like a little child, you can't enter the kingdom of heaven. And and you think about a baby, how much a baby, there's no doubt, they trust you, right? Their firm belief that you're going to be there, that you're going to feed them, that if you pick them up, you're not going to drop them, that you're, you know what I mean? Like I just there's that, that just. They have total, dependency upon you. That trust is totally on you. So that was my visualization when I read this. It represents it.
Yeah.
Good. That's a good example. Jeff, a great example. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we think about the lessons that are taught from that age, and we think about like you're a child, you don't know. You have no idea, right? That's why as the parents have to get it right, because this child is growing up with the absolute love, trust, reliability, truth, everything, right? They bleed. It bleeds. You remember I was saying, right? Every child's superheroes are their parents.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is what they see every day. This is what they experience every day. So
yeah,
that imagery, right, of a mother holding her baby that's the safest place that baby can ever be in, right?
Yeah.
In those arms, and it's beautiful. It's a really is a beautiful thing.
And I think in its purity, right? But the reality is, all of us comes from dysfunction.
Yeah.
So on paper, we can write down what trust means, but have we experienced it in our life? Like there's a certain protection that we have built over time that we don't trust people. Like we don't know how to trust because absolutely, it's we. I don't speak for anybody, but I think we all have disappointed, and and from loved ones and people that we trust,
our guards are up.
Cause you to never trust again. So even when we say trust God, like, well, do you even know how to trust? You know what I mean? Because you've been, life is hard, and just because it's on paper don't mean you can identify. So it's tough.
When that what is it? What do they call it? Well, another aspect of that is the loyalty. Once that's broken, it's like a mirror.
Yeah,
it's like smashing a mirror and putting it in the water.
Yeah.
How can you possibly put all the pieces back together?
Yeah.
And like you said, as a child or even as an adult, it's one of the most hurtful things you can ever experience, because you feel like you cannot, like you said, you can't even view the world the same anymore.
Right.
Because now everyone you come in contact with is going to be, you're going to be guarded. Yeah. Everywhere you go, you're going to be guarded. Like, nope. Don't want to do this. Don't want to do that, because I don't want to feel that way.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel that letdown. And it's key, especially when I think about how I mean, it's not funny, but how we've broken that loyalty over and over again with the God of Israel.
Yeah.
And yet his mercy keeps us in his good graces, which is astonishing, beautiful. I'm grateful, beyond grateful.
Yes.
Beyond grateful. But it really puts it into the perspective when we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, because understanding that we're breaking our God's heart.
Yeah.
By doing that.
He wants to, the same way we want to rely on him. Go back to that slide again. The trust. Go back to that slide again. That's two ways, right? That's the same way we will trust on him. He wants to trust us too.
Yeah.
Right? He wants to have the firm belief in the reliability and truth and ability and strength of us. It kind of reminds me of, like, have you seen my servant Job? Like, brag on his bits. He wants that. But can he do that? Can he like, so it goes two ways. It goes both ways, So anyway, I think trust is a big thing, and it's something to kind of think about, trust in the Lord and lean not on your own understanding. Let's go to the next one and keep going, because we could just do this topic. Definition of understanding. Somebody want to read that?
Go ahead. We anxious. Understanding, the act or action of grasping with the intellect, the power of comprehending, the power of making experience in intellect intelligible by applying concepts and categories. Right. Interesting. The act of grasping with the intellect. The power of comprehending. That's like, I think that's a big one too. Like the power of comprehending. That's, how people say common sense is common. And common sense is not so common. It make me think about that when I read that, because like everybody don't comprehend. You can say things over and over and they won't understand no matter how you word it, so or show it to them even.
Yes.
Like what we do when we're explaining, Israel to some people, family and whatnot. Yeah. It's just, they just don't see it. It's just,
it's foreign.
It's foreign, exactly.
It reminds me, this definition reminds me, how you take a child and you give them the blocks. You have the triangle and the rectangle and the square and the circle. And the child is trying to pick up the blocks and fit it into the correct hole. Like that definition just reminds me of that for some reason, because when it connects, it's a whole different. That child is beyond excited, proud. It's like that's exactly what it is, right? Square peg and a square peg hole.
Absolutely.
The learning expands. And once they get it, it's like the learning expands. It just gets bigger. And then they're able to accept more challenges, right? Right. You want to know more. They want to challenge themselves to know more, do more. It's huge. That's a huge thing.
Absolutely.
The beauty of understanding to me is that makes me know that it's a gift from the God of Israel, is because nobody around me understands, but my family in the UK, we both understand each other. We both know, we get the same understanding. My family in Canada, we have the same understanding. We get it. So this is a gift. This is a blessing. And those who know.
Absolutely.
Put something in the chat. It is true, right? I mean, it is a gift for this understanding. Eyes to hear and eyes to see and ears to hear, right? So tying it to like let's say secular definition in a way, where it's not just knowledge, but it's understanding, like, again, being able to take something that you've learned or been exposed to, and although it may not be the exact same situation, I can apply something I learned here over here. You know what I mean? Like I can transfer that knowledge, and now it can help me make decisions, help me do understand other things. You know what I mean? So I can learn the math. 1 and 1 is 2, and now I can go to the store and see. Oh, okay. One apple costs $1. One apple costs $2. This can cost $2. You know what I mean? Like no one has to tell you that because you understand. I think it's the similar thing in Israel, right? Where you following the law, statutes, and commandments, you have this knowledge, and so the understanding about how do you apply that to your life. We can read the scriptures and see this guy did this guy did that, this guy did this guy did that. The understanding is, well, how do I take that in my life and make those right decisions? It's not going to be the exact same test, right? This is not like in school where it's like they teach you 1 and 1 is 2, and on the test is like, well, what's 1 and 1? No, as you get a little bit older, the test at the becoming, they teach you 1 and 1 is 2, and on the test is what? What's 2 minus 1? Or the teacher never said that. It's like, well, if you have understanding, you should have been answering that question, right? Right? So that's what our life is like, right? As Felicia's saying, right? Is that we don't just know a Bible thump, like this story, that story, that, we knew this, we know that, we know the law, statutes, commandments, but because we've applied it to our life, we've seen the power and wisdom of the God of Israel in our life. We can discern. I mean, you know what I mean? Like we can see, like people can, like you said, family members, whatever, can look at all these things that are happening around. Oh, Juneteenth, is it good or bad, or what? All the other stuff that's out there. But because we have this foundation and we follow Lord's statutes, commandments, we're trained differently. We can discern. We can critically think. We can. We look through the lens of an Israelite, of our Father and our God, and it's a gift, and we can look at things totally differently, and what a great blessing that is.
Right. That's beautiful.
So let's keep going. Let's go to the next slide. This is just so it's God against knowledge and education. Just want to throw it out there. This is like a quick thing. Is it's like, oh, lean out on your own understanding. Just just trusting God. It's just going to work out.
No,
relax. Everything's just going to work out.
That's the extremist level of with no understanding. There's no way, right? That the goal is for you to better yourself in every way, shape, form possible. Right? Well, yeah, right. We focus on our culture, and we focus on what's needed for us to do, right? And how we do things. But if you don't know how to build anything, right? If you don't know how to teach, if you have no skill set to work on, we're a doomed nation. We are a doomed nation, because if our mindset is right, there's an opportunity. No, don't do it. Right? You look at Moses, you look at Daniel in Babylon. You look. There are so many. You look at Nehemiah. Right. You look at all these opportunities and examples, right? Bad situation, but it doesn't stop who you are.
Right.
You don't just stop and pause and say, okay, that's it. I'm done. My life is over. No, there's no need to learn. There's no need to grow, right? And I'm not sure if the slide's in there or we get to it, right? What the God of Israel even told us, hey, go build. Go and do the things that you go and make yourself ready for your eventual return. And if we're just sitting on our hands, right? I mean, honestly, when I look at the state of Jacobites today, the majority of that is sitting on the hands, waiting for the hand out of the sky to come and make everything better. But that's not reality. That's not even like it's it's prayer with action. Yeah. Right. I forget. I don't even know if somebody even said it, or was it Frederick Douglass? You pray for freedom, but you need prayer. I forget. I forget the saying, but the whole point is you pray along with the action, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're in chains and you're a slave, right? You're praying for freedom. An opportunity comes, and you pray for, okay, I've escaped. Now I'm praying that I won't get caught. Now I'm going away. The path is made, right? It's not always the destiny is already there, but it's not always the path that we want to choose, right? Because I put my hand up, right? I don't want it hard. I'd rather have it easy.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, right, that doesn't foster, like Shelby was saying, it doesn't foster growth. It doesn't foster the proper environment, and then you find yourself right back in the same situation.
Yeah.
God of Israel, he wrote the laws and statutes. He wrote the laws with his finger on the tablets. So you need to know how to read to get to know him. You know.
Right.
We have to know how to read as a people if you want to get to know this God. When I read the Bible, if I come across a word that I didn't know what it was, like buckler, let me stop right here. What does that mean? You know, and then I continue reading, you know, because I want to understand what I'm reading. Yeah. So you have to have a thirst for knowledge, a thirst to want to know and get to know this God and what he's talking about and what everything means so that you can picture it and apply it in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You can't read. 100%. You can't go to heaven and knock on his door.
She's right too. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, I was just saying it made me think about Abram when he left the Chaldeans, and I learned that God of Israel didn't give him instructions on how to build the altar. He learned it as he grew up, and so when it was time to build an altar, he knew, right? If I'm explaining it right, if I'm remembering it right, he knew how to build an altar, so that helped out. So that's something that only it's okay to learn things and be knowledgeable and have an education, but then use the proper, like you said, like you take one over here and you take 1 + 1 is 2, and you take it to the store and you use it. It's the same thing, same philosophy, right? He took something that he learned and he applied it to when the God of Israel called him to use it. So it's okay for us to learn, different things. It's just knowing when we need to use it for the God of Israel or for our culture, our nation, right? And that's the biggest part.
Yeah, for sure. Let's keep going. Let's go right here. And I mean, you guys, next slide is pretty redundant. I'll just read it really quick. Proverbs 18, the heart of the prudent getteth knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeketh knowledge. As for these, this is what you talk about Daniel, or these 4 children, right? God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom. And Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. Proverbs 18, a fool hath no delight in understanding, but that his heart may discover itself, right? He just wants to hear himself speak, right? So I think just this thought here before we get into some of the stories is that, like we said about the child, right? And child development, let's say, and that child has a total trust in you, right? Everything, right? By that definition, how firm that was. But a lot of times as they get older, maybe they can start to walk. Maybe they can start, a little freedom. They get a little under their belt. They start to learn. They get a little more wisdom, a little more understanding about, hey, I can actually walk like these big people. They're not pick me up, or whatever. I can talk a little bit, or I can whatever. And they test the waters, right? And one of the things they test the waters, right? So it's like, well, I know you said this, but I say, no.
Yeah.
How was the child when they first say that? When they first start going against, and it's cute sometimes, but it's to me, I think it's a part of the development, right? You start to like, hey, I have my own thoughts, and you said don't touch the cookie, and I'm like, no.
I want it.
That's right. Yeah. So that starts pretty early, doesn't it?
Yeah, too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, too, right? Yeah. Think about that. Already.
Two.
How to do that, right? That just comes out from them as a person. You want to do what you want to do.
I know a 1-year-old that can attest to that.
Made me think about that.
That's these new millennium children.
Oh Oh yeah, he's definitely his own. He's his own man at 1 year old.
That starts early, huh? Yeah. So imagine years and years of that. It's you train yourself to, well, if you're not trained, if you're not reeled in to have discipline.
Yeah.
Listen, right? That can lead you down a bad path. But I just, so the term that stuck with me at this stage had to do with, you've heard the term sophomore. Sophomore, right? Usually it's in high school, that means you're in 10th grade.
Yeah.
Or maybe your second year in college is also called a sophomore. You know what sophomore means? It comes from a Greek origin.
I'm not
wise fool. Wise fool.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah, you learn a little bit, and so much that you think, okay, you I got this. But you really, you just scratch the surface. You're beside yourself, right? You think you know more than you actually need in order to be successful, whatever the field is.
Yeah.
So we don't want to be sophomores. You want to always stay humble. Understand there's more to learn, and be able, because they say, a stubborn heart can't receive correction or wisdom, right? If you think then you're never going to learn, right? And so you have to always stay in a humble state, and absorb knowledge and grow and learn, and don't and make mistakes and get corrected, and then keep going and going, but always never stop at a point where you're like, oh, I know it, I don't need to check in. I get it. I'm not going to take advice. I got this, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, you got to always, remain humble and in a teachable state. And that's what beautiful about Israel too, is that you're always learning more. Thank goodness. So anyway, let's go to some stories. Let's go to the next slide, because I think we want to kind of see now. I think we kind of get the point. Shameless plug, Adam and Eve, and we're going to start there. It's a quick story, but I think kind of can illustrate the point a little bit. And maybe if we go to the next slide, then maybe Shelby can take us through that.
I'll walk us through it. Genesis 3:1-7. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath God said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God has said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for God doeth know that in that day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons.
Yes, we all know this story, and we all know the symbolism that's here, but that's not the point. How do you look at this through the lens of this topic, right? How do you see this through? Lean not on your own understanding.
Everything. But you know what? Like you said, this is a popular story. The one that always stood out to me was Adam. He's the most culpable in this situation, because his instruction came directly from the source, right? So no matter, we talk about those distractions and things that's put in front of you, like that, and it's what we deal with today. Everything around us is made to be desirable. Everything. I don't care what it is, right? Something new comes out every 2 seconds. Oh man, I need to try that. Oh man, I need to have that. Oh man, I really love this, right? It's funny, we had a conversation a while ago, Jeffrey, about smartwatches.
Mm.
You know, how it got to the point now, I'm just like, man, I just want a regular watch. I just want a regular watch. This is too much.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
But the appeal, right? The appeal, and I'm not saying it doesn't have its advantages and features and things you can do. But sometimes, right, it's getting back to the basics. Knowing, okay, where's my instruction? This is what I must do.
Yeah.
And in this situation, Adam knew the instruction. And what it is he shouldn't have done.
Yeah. And I think, can we go back to that slide? And what I like about this is it spells out, it didn't just say she was disobedient. It spells out what was going on in her head. You know what I mean? What was the motivation for her to make her decision? And all these things you think about. And when the woman saw the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eyes and a tree to be desired to make one wise, all that, right? It's sort of like you kind of see the processes going on. And in her mind, just like, again, the child was like, I don't understand why mommy and daddy say don't go here. Because it seems fine to me. You know what I mean? I don't understand why they say don't hang out with so-and-so. He seems fine to me. He's cool. All these rationalizations, not knowing the person giving you instruction has a wider depth of knowledge than you.
Yes.
And you have to trust in someone who can see wider than you. Because the truth is, if you were obedient, you'd get all that and more.
Yeah.
You can't comprehend that at this stage yet. You don't see where that, I don't see how I get any of that stuff. But if you trust in the God of Israel, it's more than what you're, making these decisions and trying to get for, what you're grabbing for these things. But the understanding is like, man, that's trivial compared to what's in store for you if you're obedient, if you stay on the path, if you trust in the God of Israel. All this stuff is so trivial compared to that, and I know when you're going through it don't seem that way. Like for her, that just seemed like the world. That was the decision. And like you said, even with Adam, it sort of was like, man, but I love this woman. What's the world gonna be like without her? I can't leave.
Yeah.
I can't. It's still the process that's going on. Why did they make a decision like that? So, but I don't know. Maybe can you relate?
Big time. Big time. It's those battles that we're faced with every single day.
Yeah. Right.
It's never. That's why it's funny to me. Sometimes you hear a lot of people say, especially when you're growing up, right? The devil is really trying me today, right? Or Satan is really trying me today. But then you read a story like this. It doesn't come like that? It doesn't happen in that way. Even when you look at what the Christ went through on the mountaintop. He didn't come to make him angry. He didn't come to say, "Oh, hey, I'm gonna do my best to ruin your life." No, I'm gonna offer you something I know you want. Something that's going to be so desirable and pleasurable to you that it's going to make you have those doubts. It's going to make you start to guess what the instruction is, or say, you know what, it may not be so bad if I just do this one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I know
I'd be better, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Better, right? Yeah.
What I think about when you were talking to Jeffrey, it made me think stranger danger. Go to your father who done gave you this instruction. Daddy, who is this man? You told me not to talk to him. He's over here bothering me. Go to your father. Don't lean on your understanding. You're a baby. You don't know nothing. Go ask your father. Go talk to him about it and see which way he's going to direct you.
That should be a habit that we should have on a constant basis.
That and to piggyback off of what Felicia was saying, when I heard that she was actually giving the serpent the directions, like he said we're not supposed to touch it. God told us not to touch it. Like, don't leave it alone. There's the foundation, right? And so we have to use the things that we were talking about. We have to understand that there's the foundation, and then we have to trust. We have to trust that that the God of Israel is giving us the perfect way to go, right? We have to trust that.
Yeah.
So I like that part of it, and that's a good point, Felicia.
All right, let's go to the next one. Next slide. All right.
There we go.
King Saul. King Saul. Oh man. All right, let's we know King Saul's story, right? He's the first king of Israel. He was chosen by the God of Israel to lead the people. The first story that always gets me is, again, he didn't apply for the job.
No.
He was minding his business, and he was chosen. The people, I think, like we were talking about this earlier, Shelby. The first part about leading on your own understanding starts with us as a people, because we petitioned to have a king. We asked Samuel, give us a king. We didn't want to judge anymore. We want a king like all the other nations, right? That's the first thing, So that started us down the path of, kings just, taking advantage of us or leading us in the wrong way, or just all those things that kings do. We had good and bad kings, but that structure wasn't supposed to be there. But look how the God of Israel gave it to us anyway. So anyways, he picked Saul as the king, and Saul did not want to be king. When it was time for his coronation, they couldn't find him. He was hiding in the barn, right? Because he was so scared.
Oh yeah, like no.
Yeah, he did not want to be king. But he stood up, he did his thing, and people loved him. He had some great victories. Samuel the prophet was there and guiding him every step of the way. And I know we know him a lot for his disobedience. We'd also know him for him going after David as well in his later years. But he started out great. He started out conquering our enemies and standing up an army in Israel. And but as I said, we're all one decision away from making a bad decision. So anyway, but this is his story, right? There's a couple of stories where we'll cover under him, but let's start here. I don't know, Mr. Anthony, you want to start? Can you?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Let's go. Saul reigned 1 year. When he had reigned 2 years over Israel, Saul chose him 3,000 men of Israel, whereof 2,000 were with Saul in Michmash and in Mount Bethel, and 1,000 were with Jonathan in Gibeah of Benjamin. And the rest of the people he sent every man to his tent. And the Philistines gathered themselves together to fight with Israel, 30,000 chariots and 6,000 horsemen, and people as the sand which is of the seashore in multitude. And they came up and pitched in Michmash, eastward from Bethaven. When the people of Israel saw that they were in a strait, for the people were distressed, then the people did hide themselves in caves and in thickets and in rocks and in high places and in pits. And he tarried 7 days according to the set time that Samuel had appointed. But Samuel came not to Gilgal, and the people were scattered from him.
All right.
Wow. Sounds like the wilderness. Sounds
like what?
The wilderness, spying out the land.
Oh. Yeah. So I mean, we know we kind of went similar to going through Judges when the time of the kings, when we just started the first king, right? So we just coming out of time of the Judges. But we have Philistines, one of our nemesis, I guess you'll say, our enemy that's constantly fighting against us. And look at the how many men does he have? 3,000 men.
Yeah.
How many Philistines?
30,000 chariots, 6,000 horsemen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot more. A lot more.
As the sand on the seashore.
Yeah. So absolutely. So it's terrible to see. You're right. This is like, it's like this is Israel. What do you mean? Why are you hiding in caves, right? Trusting God is gonna be okay. But you understand the human nature of being fearful of seeing numbers 10, 20, 100 times more than what you have. And so they were scared. And so when they're scared, who are they going to turn to for an answer?
I need the man that can talk to God.
Oh, you better Saul's the king, right? His king is
de
facto head of the army, right? So, what are we doing? So they're in this state for 7 days. Samuel said that he's going to be there at a certain time and date. and that time is come and gone, And,
yeah, he like, no,
mm-hmm.
no, this is not. We're not doing this.
Mm-hmm. So so Saul's like, man, I don't know. I mean, what we got to do? What are we gonna do? The people, so it's not just him, but the people, right? The people, you have to answer to the people. You're like, so what are we doing? What are we doing? Saul's not here. You can imagine people saying, you should do this, you should do that, you should do this, you should do that. And so he has to make a decision about what to do, right? So, I could easily just come and ask you guys, what would you do in his place, but again, we know what happens, so it's not a fair question, right? That type of unsurmountable odds, probably all of us has faced in some way in our life, and having to make a tough decision that way, where all things just don't look like, I don't see
look favorable. Yeah.
I don't see a way out of this type of thing, and so this is what he does. Let's go to the next slide.
I continue to read.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And Saul said, bring hither a burnt offering to me and peace offerings. And he offered the burnt offering, and it came to pass that as soon as he had made an end of offering the burnt offering, behold, Samuel came. And Saul went out to meet him, that he might salute him. And Samuel said, What hast thou done? And Saul said, because I saw that the people were scattered from me, and there thou camest not within the days appointed, and that the Philistines gathered themselves together at Michmash. Therefore said I, the Philistines will come down now upon me to Gilgal, and I have not made supplication unto the Lord. I forced myself, therefore, and offered a burnt offering. And
so
Samuel...
Let's stop there a second. Let's just stop there. I mean, so... Felicia, I see you shaking your head. Go ahead. Yeah, what do you got to say?
Saul always has an excuse for why he did what he did. Like, it's always against his will, or he would not have done it, but it's your fault, Samuel, because you didn't show up on time. So I had to just force myself to do it. Yeah, right, Saul. That's all I wanted to say about that.
You have no mercy on Saul.
This is as tough a situation to be in as one can possibly be in.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is, right? This is life or death. I don't know where the seer is. I don't know what my men are all going. I have to do what I know we do as a culture in order to prepare ourselves to go and do something.
Right.
And it's tough. This is as tough as a situation that one could be in, because it's the last thing on your mind is don't do anything. That's the absolute last thing on your mind. Just sit still, don't do anything.
That's the hardest thing I think to have to do.
Yeah. The last and the hardest, absolutely.
Patience. That's we don't have patience as a people, right? Yeah, patience.
You look down and you see all these chariots and all these men down there. It's like,
answer to yourself, you answer to the people, right? And they're coming to, because they're scared. So, but for Felicia's point, obviously this shows a lack of understanding.
Oh yeah, big time.
On Saul's part, right? He's like the sophomore, right? He's like, okay, he's been chosen, so definitely he has a spirit on him, right? He's anointed, right? He's definitely, but he's making some bad decisions, right? It's just letting you know he's not quite there. He needs some more training, he needs some more understanding and clarity, some more maturity, right? For someone in that place to understand when to go, when not to go, when to, you know what I'm saying? Like it's obvious, there, like you said, that's one big one. And so it is, like I said, your actions tell you out and show you where you are, So, but what are your thoughts, Shelby? Are you mercy for Saul, or you're like, nah, Saul is?
Well, I look at him like because I see he said I forced myself.
Yeah.
So I mean, did he do that? Did he force himself because he wasn't going to do it? He was trying to uphold it, but the fear and all the pressure, he forced himself to do what he did. So I don't. I don't know. I just look at that part like he forced himself. Well, why would he have to force himself to do that? Like he was trying. But I agree with Felicia though. You can't blame it on somebody else. You did it, but he did say he forced himself. So it kind of make me think that he was trying to uphold and hang in there, but they must have been closing in, right? And he like, hey, I need some help. Let me just do this. Which again, it's the same thing of when we talk about understanding. He really didn't understand that he just needed to be steadfast and hold on to God's word at that time, the God of Israel's word. So he acted out of acting. Like same thing that we talked about with what's his name that caught the ark.
Yeah,
he just acted. It was like, I got to do something.
Yeah,
and I think
it seemed right at the moment. Yeah,
he could have sent somebody to look for Samuel.
Sorry,
he could have sent someone to look for Samuel to see what was taking him a while.
Sure.
I agree too.
Absolutely. So yeah, I absolutely. There's no making an excuse for Saul, but I think this story is here for a reason, right? Like, has there ever been a time in your life where you are felt like you're in a similar situation to make a decision like that?
Pressure.
And how absolutely, yeah, and again, we're not talking about serve God or serve Baal, right? That's not it's not that, right? It's and it's almost like, how do I, maybe making your own decision about how to please the God of Israel. I don't know how else to characterize it, but I think it's easy to condemn the people who make bad decisions in the scriptures, but is there a lesson here for yourself or for us in our situation, where in your life where you're could help you make a right decision because of where this other person fell. But let's go on because there's another part to this. So it's like, if this is an isolated incident, then okay, well, nobody's perfect, but at this point, we kind of see this happening more than once, and that's the part that's like, man. Okay, let's go next slide. Next one.
I never finished the previous.
Oh yeah,
that's okay. We get the point. We know what happens. It don't turn out well for him. It's okay. Let's go to the next one, just because of time.
Okay.
So this is another scenario.
You want to read it or me? I'll read it. Okay. 1 Samuel 15, 1-3. Samuel also said unto Saul, the Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken thou unto the voice of the words of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek, right? Amalek, why I keep saying that? And utterly destroy all they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass.
Okay, pretty.
This is the guy that they never want to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Right. I thought he loved everybody. Everybody.
But you know what? This is a true father. This is a true father through and through. It's like, I don't care how much time has passed. No, I remember what you did when they were on their way in the wilderness. And don't worry, this will not go unpunished.
Right. Yeah. It's coming.
My son was walking to school and your kids jumped on him. We owe you now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Oh no, not
at a time of our choosing.
That's the scary part. It's like, we're at peace, right? No, because the instruction, wipe them off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Every last one of them. The one that always gets me is the animals. I'm like, what?
What they do?
Yeah, I said everything. Everything. Destroy everything. That's what it is. It's pretty clear, right? Pretty clear. There's no gray area. There's no misunderstanding. It's very clear what the instructions are. Yeah.
Utterly destroy. I
Yes.
like that. That's
Yes.
what it was.
All right. So what happens next? What does King Saul do with these instructions? I'll read that. And Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Telaim, 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah. It's a bigger number than when he started out in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou cometh to Shur, that is over against Egypt. Again, if we had time, I'll show you the map and see how far that is. And he took Agag, king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep and of the oxen and of the fatlings and the lambs and all that was good, and would not utterly destroy them, but everything that was vile and refuse, that they destroyed utterly.
Yeah. What this remind me of, like, so this the disobedience, but when we go back to the last thing he did, right, he didn't really get reprimanded for that. So when he got here, he's doing even more.
Right? Well, I'm sorry, he did get reprimanded for it.
He did.
I'm sorry, he did. He did. We didn't finish it. He did.
Okay. So he's doing even more.
It was foolish. And he's going to take the kingdom from you because you haven't shown yourself to be worthy. You haven't been obedient. He got a big chastisement. I should have read it, because a part of the point is, after again, understanding, right? So the exact same thing is not going to happen, right? So I'm pretty sure if ever happened again, where he and Samuel said, "Okay, go, we're going to set up against the Philistines, and I'll meet you in 7 days." And 7 days comes, and Samuel doesn't come. I'm pretty sure, it's easy to say, "Oh wow, last time this happened, I learned my lesson. I'm not going to sacrifice it to God until Samuel comes, no matter how long it takes." Right? I would assume, hopefully, because that's exactly. But my point is, it's never going to come exactly the same way. And a part of what you read about the definition of understanding is, hopefully, you learn something in this situation that comes with you. So when you have another situation, not the same. It's a different situation, but hopefully you've learned something so you can apply it in this new situation. And so it didn't, right? So even in that situation with the chastisement, he didn't understand. The understanding, and going to our definition of being able to have transferable skills, it didn't happen in this. And it's a very close situation, but it didn't. It didn't. He was able to do that, And so that's why my point to everyone here that's listening is, a part of this is not just about condemning Saul. A part of it is hopefully learning from his experience and getting understanding so that we don't make the same mistakes in our lives. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, let's finish reading, because we're going against time. So after he did that, then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, saying, and Samuel doesn't even know. He gave you instructions, and it's one of those things about trust too. Like, it's just the idea of, like, if I trust someone, give instructions, I don't got to think about it right now, because I got to do other stuff, and I know it'll be taken care of, right? But Samuel came then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, saying, "It repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king." What a terrible. Let's just. To hear that. "For he is turned back from following me and has not performed my commandments." So you're like, I don't know if any of you guys have ever been a manager or had a business, had to hire someone and whatever, you're on the interview, everything seems great. They tell you that they can do this and do that and the other. I know Mr. Anthony's laughing because I know he's been through this. And at some point you're just like, I want to hire this person. They are just messing up, and it's more than just like, oh, they just don't know. It's like they gotta go. They just, So anyway,
it even came in the first place.
And it grieved Samuel So, Samuel felt bad, and he cried unto the Lord all night.
Mm-hmm.
Something, Prophet Samuel. Can you imagine crying all night? And when Samuel rose early to meet Saul in the morning, it was told Samuel, saying, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set him up a place and is going about and passed on and going down to Gilgal. And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou, O Lord, of the Lord. I have performed the commandment of the Lord. He's like, I did it. I did what you said. And he's so happy. So while Samuel is crying all night, Saul is probably partying all night,
Proud of himself.
Absolutely, yeah. And Samuel said, What meaneth then, if you've been obedient, what meaneth then that this bleating of the sheep in my ears and the lowing of the oxen which I hear? Next slide. Oh, he's small. Then said unto Saul, Stay, and I will tell thee what the Lord hath said to me this night. And he said unto him, Say on. And Samuel said, When thou wast little in thine own sight, wast thou not made the head of the tribe of Israel? And the Lord anointed thee king over Israel. And the Lord sent thee on a journey and said, Go and utterly destroy the sinners, the Amalekites, and fight against them until they be consumed. Wherefore then didst thou not obey the voice of the Lord, but didst fly upon the spoil and didst evil in the sight of the Lord? And Saul said unto Samuel, Yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord, and have gone the way which the Lord sent me. I have brought Agag, the king of the Amaleks, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. But the people took of the spoil, sheep and oxen, and chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice to the Lord thy God in Gilgal. So he's like, yeah, that sounds, my understanding, that's the same thing, right?
Right. Sounds great.
Yeah, we're going to kill him.
Good intention.
We're going to kill him in the battlefield. We're going to kill him on a sacrifice to the God of Israel. They're all going to be dead, right? I mean, it makes sense to me. I don't know. Is that good enough? And Samuel said, Have the Lord as great delight in burnt offering and sacrifice as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness, that's the word, is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he has also rejected thee from being king. Wow. Strong words. Yeah. Lean not to thine own understanding.
Exactly.
Lean not to thine own understanding.
And then come with a lot of excuses and self-righteousness for the reasons that you did what you did. Mm-hmm. But the Lord said, do this, and you want to explain why you did just the opposite when he made it plain. Mm-hmm. It's no room for interpretation of what he said do.
It was pretty clear.
This
very, very clear.
This is so sad, right? Because it's like you can hear the conversation between the God of Israel and Samuel, right? Part of it is it's like a personal embarrassment.
Yeah.
Like it repented me that I made him king. Like it's such a it's such a sad disposition, right? And on Samuel's part, right? Samuel's been the one training him up, then the one preparing him and getting him ready to show him the way. So this comes and you get the word and you see the sadness there. It's like you're going to be sad because you're like, oh, man,
yeah,
like I did everything I could possibly do to try to bring it, like to help this situation be better.
Well,
and
I'm sorry, but God and Israel has enemies, and we make him look bad. Let's I think about if Satan would have gotten Job to do something, he would have been like, look, I told you. But with this one, with Saul, he's probably saying, look at this one who you picked to be king, So the God of Israel, I believe, is ridiculed by, or made fun of or picked at by Lucifer and whoever else may be able to communicate with him when we mess up. Because that's why his name is holy and is righteous, and we have to keep some respect on that. He does a lot of things in his name for our benefit. So we have to remember that his name is on the line when we walking in and we saying that he's our God. We have to act accordingly.
Let's go. Bring the slide back up.
I'm sorry for interrupting, Minister Anthony.
Oh, that's all right.
Good point.
So in this slide, in the conversation, he's adamant. Like he comes to Samuel like, I did it. I did it.
What you told me?
What do you think is going through his mind? You think he's going through his mind like, did he really think in himself he did do what he's supposed to do?
No.
You think he knew he didn't do what he was supposed to do?
Oh, no. I didn't understand that right. I didn't hear it the first time he said it. No, I think in his mind, he thought that I did a good thing and I did something even better than what was asked of me.
Right.
Right. It's almost like if just for the sake, right? You tell your kids to clean the house, right? I mean, not to clean the house, to clean one specific room, right? Let's say you could be remodeling, but they end up cleaning the whole house. But they just made it tougher for you to do what you have to do, right? Whatever situation it is, it's like, that's not what I asked you guys to do.
Right.
Like, I know you're proud of yourselves for cleaning and getting everything situated. This is not what I asked you guys to do, because I didn't need you guys to do that.
Right.
So I think in Saul's case, I definitely, I believe, or I think that he did something righteous.
Well, let's go to the next slide. And so after all that, and Samuel condemns him. And Saul said unto Samuel, I have sinned, for I have transgressed the commandment of the Lord and thy words, because I feared the people and obeyed their voice. So it's almost like he could have been, we make excuses to ourselves.
Yeah.
We believe it. But it's called out and then so he's like, I did the right thing. I did it, But then when it's called out, it's like, yeah, okay, the truth is, it gets, when you get to the truth. And this goes like how we talked about, like what causes someone to lean to their own understanding. There's so many things. Again, we come out of dysfunctions. There's so many things. We don't know how to trust. We've been hurt before. We have desires. We have distractions. We have all these things that are deep, deep rooted. And so on our surface, we may rationalize in our mind, do this, that, or the other. But a part of Israel is that we got to get deep to the core of who we are and what motivates us and what keeps us going. It's not an intellectual exercise, It's really, and it's not a spectator sport, right? I mean, I'm pretty sure if you asked Saul in a questionnaire, he'd be like, "Oh, no, I always do whatever the God of Israel says." But when placed in that spot, he continually failed over and over, and and that's unfortunate, because he's our king, and we'd hope that he'd be successful. Because again, his failure is our failure as a nation, right? We don't glory in it, but again, hopefully we can take something from that, hopefully, to help us in our journey.
Oh
you
yeah,
know what I mean? Yeah. So. Not understand.
That's the only positive for me, and I feel for our brethren who had to go through what they go through and learn the hard way. But for us, it can be examples of what we should and shouldn't do, and for that, I'm thankful for them.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get one more in before maybe we'll see. I think none of those we have are kind of short, so maybe we can jump in when we get one. Let's go next slide. Peter. Yeah, New Testament. I'm not going to New Testament. I think this in St. Louis, we're doing a lot more in the New Testament for this past couple of months. So let's start with Peter. And so we know Peter, apostle, Jesus Christ. So anybody want to read this one?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, go ahead, Mr.
Oh, you go ahead, Felicia. You can take it.
And straightway Jesus constrained his disciples to get into a ship and to go before him unto the other side, while he sent the multitude away. And when he had sent the multitude away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary. And in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went unto them, walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is a spirit, and they cried out for fear.
Interesting. I think I
I
would
love,
probably have fear too. I don't know.
I love this story. I love this story.
Because I've never seen that before, right?
Because it's like, oh, the ship. Okay, I'll get there.
Yeah. I mean, he's a fisherman, right? So they're not squeamish. Like the sea must really be rough for them to, really complain that again see this entity walking, like that doesn't happen, right? So what's going on? Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, what's going on here? And like you said, to see that is you know what, it's kind of, I know it's not so much ironic, but it's one of those things where and I'm just guessing, right? It's almost like, gosh, you've been around, you've seen the miracles. Like what are you questioning at this point? What's the hang up at this point?
Yeah. But again, it's not just the knowledge or experience; it's the understanding. Yeah. Right. Understand, being able to take. Well, if he raised that person from the dead, then I guess he can walk on water. You know what I mean?
It's to put it all together. That's like,
exactly. Yeah. But again, that's so let's keep going. But straightway, I'm sorry, who was reading?
Felicia.
Oh, okay.
But straightway Jesus spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I, be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Lord, if it be thou, bid me come unto thee on the water. And he said, Come. And Peter was come down out of the ship. He walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw the wind boisterous, he was afraid and beginning to sink. He cried, saying, Lord, save me. And immediately Jesus stretched forth his hand and caught him and said unto him, O thou of little faith, wherefore didst thou doubt?
That's right. Took everything away.
Thinking about the whole father-child relationship, and times when your child may be scared, and you're like, "Oh, I'm here. Why are you scared? Like, what? You think I'm gonna let something happen to you? Like, I mean, jump.
Go back to that picture you was raising. That picture when they was holding the baby. Imagine the baby holding on to you and don't want to let go. You can't have that moment where you twirl them in the air and they laughing and playing. They holding on like no.
Yeah. So he sees Peter started out good. Again,
no hesitation.
Definitely not leaning to his own understanding. Stepping out of the boat into tumultuous sea. Started out pretty good, but then at some point he's like, "Ooh, wait a minute, that's a big wave."
And like you said, the Christ had no hesitation. Come.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh well, maybe. Like, no. Hey, come, let me show you.
Yeah.
And to do it, even when he fell into the water, right? Because it's already storming and everything else, but the wind, and I love it when it says he immediately grabbed him.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately grabbed him and pulled him up. O Lee of your little faith.
Absolutely.
One more thing I wanted to say about that was the level who these people are that we're talking about, right? We're talking about the Christ and we're talking about Peter. So if he's even struggling, Peter, who was there with the Christ, if he's struggling to go through this situation, imagine us what we're doing. Like we have to even work even just as harder to try to stay with culture and follow the God of Israel's lead.
Absolutely. And I think, to Felicia's point, right? I mean, again, we don't just passively read about our forefathers and call winners and losers. It's our history, and it's there for a reason that we can learn. And the question is, the measure of our understanding as an Israelite is how much we can learn from their experiences, so that we don't have to repeat those experiences. How many times have we gone through And we saw, oh, okay, they had peace for 40 years, then they did the same thing again. And then they went into slavery, and then they cried out, and then the God of Israel sent a savior, and then they got victorious. They had peace for 20 years, and they went back and did it again. We're at the end of our 400 years, right? We've passed that milestone. We're in this time of building and of freedom, and so now it's time for us to build. And so we want to make sure that it's not just on the surface. We want to dig deep. We want to make sure that the God of Israel. We never want to have the God of Israel, repent that He chose us to be a part of His family, like He did with Saul. Right? We want to learn. We want to work. We want to build. We want to mature. We want the God of Israel to trust in us, that He can give us a job and He can go, do what He got to do, because we're going to take care of it. You know what I mean? We want to build that type of relationship, but that don't happen just by talking about it, right? That don't happen, just by reading about it, right? That has to by building up our understanding, praying to the God of Israel to give us wisdom and understanding, so that we can make good choices in our lives, in the rebuilding of ourselves, in the rebuilding of our families, and the restoring of His nation. And that's our quest, and that's why we're here. That's why we're here to talk about this and to teach about this and to learn about this, so that we can definitely, hopefully, as we end this program, that we end in a better condition than from whence we came.
Amen.
Amen.
So I don't know. I think we got some stories to illustrate the point. I think we got some discussions about this in our own personal lives. I think but we're at the end now. Just please give me some final words.
I loved every second of this, right? And as you mentioned, it's important to, as we read about our history, is to reflect and kind of really take a deep dive into it and really let it settle in and realize that the same things that our ancestors faced then, we are facing today.
Yeah.
Right. If not more, right, in this big melting pot that we're in, right? There's so many influences and obstacles in our way. And just as the title says, we can't lean to our own understanding, no matter how good we think our intentions are.
What you say, Shelby? What's your closing remarks?
My thing is just trying to stay on point with the culture. For me, I learned so much in this lesson about just that leaning, not leaning to my understanding, just leaning, trying to trust more on the God of Israel from, just these examples. I mean, we know we're going to deal with fear. That's a big thing. We know we're going to deal with fear. So I think we're just trying to do the best we can to make sure that we use those foundational laws and culture, right? Our culture, to make sure that we move forward. I think that's just what we all could do, to just keep moving, pushing the culture forward.
All right. How about yourself, Felicia? Give us some words of wisdom.
For me, Peter shows, in this relationship, shows me that we can fear, we can doubt, but if we keep our eyes stayed on the Christ and on the God of Israel, we will keep getting stronger, and we will be able to endure to the end. Because with all what Peter went through with the Christ on his journey, he became that special one to lead Israel in the gospel of the Christ.
Amen. All right. Amen. Thank you. What a great ending. I couldn't have said it any better. Thank you, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed our discussion. Time will go by fast as usual, but please continue to study. Look out for our Saturday night lessons happening on Saturdays at 2:00. So until next time, from St. Louis Branch, peace.
Peace.